into the what we're calling the formal AGM. You're all invited to stay. I think although we do have legal business to do, it really is a celebration and a recognition of the really hard work of all of the staff of Community First Oxfordshire over the year that we're reporting on. So I hope you do stay and find that interesting. And as we start, I also want to say that it's Trustees Week this week. So we're very strategically have our AGM in Trustees Week. And I really want to thank my fellow trustees on the board for all of their work and support and insight, which comes out in the board meetings. And to invite all of you who are not yet trustees of CFO to be inspired by the work that you're going to hear about and volunteer to come and join us. It would be great to talk to anybody who wants to consider coming onto the board as a trustee. We need you. We need expertise and experience in many areas. So be very happy to talk to you about that. So housekeeping for the actual AGM. If you want to raise a question, again, raise your hand or your cartoony hand. And if you are going to propose or second any of the motions through the AGM, it will be important for you to identify who you are, that you are a member of CFO, so that we can record who it is that are those proposers and seconders in our minutes of this meeting. And remember to unmute yourself each time as well. So only the paid up membership of CFO are entitled to vote in the AGM, but you know who you are, so I'm sure you won't attempt to vote if you're not a member. So the first thing to do is to receive the minutes of last year's AGM. That was held on the 23rd of October 2024. The minutes were circulated with the notice of the AGM. So first of all, does anyone have any comments or corrections on those minutes as they were presented? Doesn't look like it, thank you. Then I would like a proposer to accept those minutes from last year, preferably somebody who was there last year. Do I have a proposer? Chris Kenneford, my vice chair. Thank you very much, Chris. And a seconder, please. John, thank you very much. So proposer Chris Kenneford and seconder John Bright, and those minutes are accepted. Thank you very much. And now to look at some of the highlights and achievements of last year, I'm going to hand it over to Tom McCulloch, one of our joint chief executive officers. Thank you, Tom.
That's grand. Thank you, Jackie, and hello everybody. And yeah, thanks to all of you for coming along today. And I'd also like to pass on my thanks to Mark for a really interesting presentation and some fantastic questions afterwards. I mean, it's clearly more important than ever to cut through the noise, bluster, disinformation, prejudice surrounding asylum, migration and immigration. So thank you, Mark. So yeah, my task is to take a few minutes to take everyone through some highlights of CFO's work in 24-25. It's always interesting to take time to look back and reflect. And I think in the last year, we've been able to showcase our work and our work streams better than ever, particularly in the annual review, thanks to the excellent work of Mariam, who joined as our Communications and Impacts Officer this year. And Mariam has also led on our branding and website redesigns. So I do hope you get a chance to look at the annual review. We circulated it to everybody attending today, and do also dip into the new website. The sheer breadth and depth of the work being undertaken by CFO staff is clear and apparent. And we said it in the annual review, and I'll say it again here. I mean, Emily and I genuinely believe that the current Community First Oxfordshire team is the strongest, most creative and committed that we can remember. Our overarching focus is community development and placemaking, and our core aim is to ensure that all of our work streams, all of our activity collectively contribute to supporting Oxfordshire's people and places in all their diversity to work together and thrive. So just to pick up a few highlights, health and well-being has been a key focus for CFO in the last year, and the Well Together programme which we deliver alongside our close partner, Oxfordshire Community and Voluntary Action, has been a huge success. The Well Together programme invests in community-led health and wellbeing activities in 10 priority areas across Oxfordshire, and its CFO, Dulcie, Jane, Timor, Asia and Rachel have supported a hugely impressive 128 projects which have supported and reached over 1,400 people. And just an excellent programme. And in a similar vein, the Connected Communities Fund, which is another CFO OCVA joint project, has gone from strength to strength. The key aims of this fund are to build resilience, reduce isolation, and create opportunities for people to stay active, connected, and supported close to home. And 63 groups have received some £175,000 worth of funding. And Lisa and Claire have been central to that work. And our health focus work didn't stop there. Also led by Lisa, we undertook 2 projects on behalf of Oxfordshire County Council Public Health and West and Cherwell District Councils to look into health and well-being in 2 areas of Witney and Bicester West, building on work we've previously done in this regard. So asking local residents about strengths, assets and challenges in relation to health and well-being. And actually, as part of that work, we spoke to asylum seekers at the Witney hostel and just picked up some of those challenges and testimonies that Mark was talking about earlier on. And at the same time, Dudu and Claire have been leading on a Stop Smoking project, which is a year-long pilot commissioned by the County Council again to explore new ways to connect with people to stop smoking. And as with all our work, this project is all about going to where people go and talking to them rather than expecting folk to come to us. We don't really believe in the notion of the hard to reach, and as Dulcie is often reminding us, it's all about how do we reach people. In other work, our housing and planning activity has been really busy. It's with good reason that truly affordable housing is a CFO strategic aim, and it's no exaggeration to say that Oxfordshire's lack of affordable housing threatens the social fabric of the county, with the situation exacerbated in rural areas where prices and rents are often higher again. And the government-funded rural housing project entered its 2nd year, and our community-led housing service, Collaborative Housing, also continued. And this is time-consuming and often very, very technical work, and it takes knowledge, tenacity and determination to be successful in this field, and those are skills that Fiona and Kay have in abundance. Working closely with Fiona and Kay is Stephen, who oversees our planning and stewardship work. Neighbourhood planning was a continuing main feature for CFO this year, and we've rolled out a new service to support the creation of design codes. Communities are often hugely frustrated by the often lazy, banal and indifferent design of new housing, and we want to help local people to create locally specific design that responds to local character and heritage in creative and inspiring ways. Stewardship, or community-led management of assets, can also be a likewise inspiring piece of work to get involved in. And communities have many assets with green and open spaces, halls, shops, allotments, sports facilities, and community-led stewardship recognises local people as the long-term custodians of those assets. And this year, we completed our first major stewardship commission at Northwest Bicester Ecotown for Cherwell District Council, setting out a roadmap for the creation of a development trust, which would be managed by local people to run local services. And we continue to be really excited about the possibilities that community-led stewardship can have in terms of supercharging resident involvement in creating healthy, thriving places in line with what people actually want. Elsewhere, Tessa's time as community shop and halls advisor continues to be heavily drawn upon, and the sheer number and range of inquiries that Tessa manages, particularly from community halls, is mind-boggling. And in fact, it's probably our hall service, I said this before, more than any other CFO service, that really roots Community First Oxfordshire and communities across the county. And talking of roots, Marek has taken over from Rosie as the community development worker on our long-standing Hayford Park Community Development Project. So good to have you on board, Marek. Supporting the whole team has been Lorna, our finance officer, and Bev, our data analyst. And while Gemma Tinsley left this year, Shadia stepped in with aplomb as our senior administrator. In a relatively small organisation like Community First, you might be surprised how much there is to manage behind the scenes, and Shadia keeps the show on the road. Just to finish off, I mean, like everyone else in our sector, Community First is facing challenges, but we continue to work hard to deepen our financial sustainability and extend where we can our services that we offer communities. So many thanks are due to the continued support of our local authority partners at Cherwell, West, South, Vale and County. We know there's major challenges ahead for them. Local government reform, anybody want to pick up on that one just now? No, I didn't think so. But our ongoing message is that Community First and our community members can be a valuable partner in helping our local authorities meet those challenges. And we're also very grateful for the support of our colleagues in the voluntary sector, particularly the aforementioned OCVA. So I'll just finish off now, and huge thanks again to the CFO staff and to our excellent board of committed trustees. And of course, to my fellow CEO, Emily. We've been around for so long, the two of us. There's actually old black and white footage of us. We're like the Fred and Ginger of the Oxfordshire voluntary sector. But to be serious, I am, as ever, grateful for all of Emily's support and wisdom. I'm a huge fan of her tenacity and energy in advocating for Oxfordshire's communities. So thanks for listening, everybody. Just a few highlights from the last year. And before I hand back to Jackie and to Malcolm, Emily and I would be happy to answer any questions you might have. All good then. Let's see. No cartoon hands, Jackie. No cartoon hands.
I got one.
Oh.
Not a cartoon hand, it's a real one. Oh. Yes, you mentioned local government reorganisation. How do you think that's going to affect our work?
Well, I mean, as you know, I mean, CFO doesn't have a favoured position in terms of the options that are on the board. But the key thing that we've been saying to local authorities is that the new structure needs to effectively connect with communities. There needs to be structures that allow local residents to effectively communicate up to whatever the structure is going to be. And if it's going to be more distant with a larger structure from local communities, then mechanisms have to be put in place to allow that to effectively happen. And the voluntary sector, CFO and others have a key role in being that kind of interface, I think, between people and whatever that new structure is. So I think that's probably the main thing.
Just on that, I think it's like anything, it's important to foster good relationships. So there'll be that time where there's going to be lots of change, but the sector actually can be a level of consistency that perhaps might be needed when it comes to local government reorganisation. So I think there's opportunities as well as challenges.
Paul, and then Alan, I think.
Thanks, Tom. So I'm from Oxfordshire County Council, work a little bit with Emily. I just wanted to say on the LGR issue, there will be an opportunity next year to respond to government consultation on the right way forward for Oxfordshire. So I would really urge, particularly the voluntary and community sector, to set out what's important to you in that process. And whatever the new set of arrangements, whatever councils exist, they will be new councils. They are not new versions of existing councils. And again, I think I would just say to the voluntary and community sector, there's a real opportunity at the sort of outset of those new councils to kind of lobby and make the case for what's important to the sector, and would urge you and colleagues to do that.
Thank you, Paul. We'll definitely do
Thanks,
that.
Paul. Alan.
Could you just elaborate a little on the thing about design codes that you mentioned, where we could sort of look at something like that, as opposed to doing buildings that are sort of not standard just bricks, they all look the same sort of thing, that sort of aspect. Yeah,
well, just briefly, I'm a big fan of them, so I don't want to go on about them for too long. They're a common feature of neighbourhood plans these days, Alan, as you probably know. And what people and groups are keen to get away from is that kind of off the peg housing that's dropped down inner communities, whereby you might be could be in Ensham, you could be in Inverness, you could be in Sunderland, wherever it is. There's no kind of sense of local uniqueness to the design. It's just lazy and it's banal the way that developers can drop that down. So design codes are all about saying, well, if you're developing houses in this particular part of a community, here's what the surrounding vernacular architecture is like, here's what the local character is, and we would like to see you respond to that in terms of how you design and build your houses. It doesn't need to be super expensive. It just needs to kind of reflect and think about what the surrounding area is actually like and make it more appealing and in keeping with that local area. Not dropping things in aspic and saying it looked like this in the 17th century, it needs to look like it now, but just being a lot more creative in how we approach these things, because design and what communities look like and how they feel are really important to people and really important in creating, special places that people want to live in. So that's what design codes are all about. Grand.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
I don't see any more questions, Jackie. So,
Paul, is that your hand? Is that a legacy hand now?
Legacy hand.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
apologies. I need to leave for another meeting. So, but thank you very much. It's been really interesting to hear about the broader range of work that I don't see. So, thank you.
Right. Cheers, Paul.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you, Tom, for giving us those highlights from the annual report. And I really appreciate that you did that in a way of naming every member of staff and highlighting some of the work that they've done. And I just want to add my thanks to the whole team, who are such a willing and skilled and flexible and hard-working set of people. It's a pleasure really to hear about the work that you're achieving. And I know as we're getting our discussions on the strategy going forward, your eagerness and motivation to build on what's already going on. And a word about Tom and Emily. I don't see you in black and white. I see you in total technicolor, and your expertise and your good humour and the way you work together is just exemplary. And also, I think to emphasise the partnerships, that was an illustration of it with Paul saying, oh yes, I'd do this with Emily. Both of you have got such a good network of partnerships across the county that already stand us in good stead, but will do going forward as well. So I thoroughly commend the annual report to you and the website. You've only just had a little flavour of what's been going on in the last year or so. So everybody present, do go and have a look at the website and make sure you have a really good look at that annual report, because it's very commendable. Thank you for all the work on that. So also many thanks to Malcolm, our tireless, hardworking and insightful treasurer. And I'm going to hand over to him now to present the annual statement of accounts. Malcolm.
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to try and live up to that introduction now. Yes, so if people have had a chance to look at the annual review, there's one page that summarises graphically the financial situation for last year, and does it quite well, I think. In the end, we ended up with a small surplus, which each year I sit here and say, well, next year we're trying to get to a break-even position, but it's looking quite difficult. And each year we manage it. And so it's always very impressive to see that. So again, just touching on next year, we are also trying to look at a break-even situation, which is what we want to do, so that we're matching our resources with what we achieve. And each year, as I said, it continues to be a challenge, but incredible the way we manage it with Tom and Emily being able to get the finance we need to do all the great things we do, as we see in our annual review. I won't go on too much though, because obviously everybody else has spoken about all these things. The accounts themselves have been available online, so I would like to ask if there's any comments on those accounts, any questions before asking for the AGM. So are there any questions on the accounts as presented? In that case, could I ask for approval with a proposer and seconder? Thanks, Chris. And anybody else? Have they been seconded? I might have missed it.
I think John Bright.
Okay, brilliant, excellent. Okay, no questions then on the accounts as they stand.
No.
That's great. And then secondly, the re-election of our auditors. Again, I'd like to propose that we do that, and so that would mean Wen Townsend being our auditors again for next year, and also the board. We will fix the remuneration for the auditors for next year. Also looking there for a proposer and seconder.
Jackie is proposing.
Happy to
Malcolm
propose.
McCarthy. If you could say
Okay.
your name as well, if you're. Thank you. Who's seconding?
Linda.
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 Linda
Okay,
Hawke.
brilliant. And I'm not going to take anybody's time up any further, I don't think.
Right.
Everything's already been covered elsewhere. So I will hand back to Jackie.
Well, thank you very much, Malcolm. And just because that was an efficient and concise part of the AGM doesn't mean it's been a breeze to do. I know there's got a lot of hard work gone into keeping the accounts all year, into all our finance committee meetings and into the production of the report. And we appreciate that. And it's because it's been so well done that it was just very efficiently handled now. So thank you.
Again, thank you.
I've been looking amongst us to see if our patron, Jonathan, is with us, and I think he's not.
No.
So our next item on the agenda would have been handled by Jonathan if he was able to be here, but I'm going to ask my Vice Chair, Chris Kenniford, please, to take us through the election of members of the Board of Trustees.
Okay, well, good morning, everybody. Hope you can hear me okay. As Jackie said, this is about the election of trustees to the board. And under the CFO's rules, every trustee shall retire at the third AGM following his or her appointment. But a trustee who is required to retire in that way, subject to them not having served more than 9 consecutive years, they shall be eligible for reappointment without nomination. And this year, Honorary Treasurer Malcolm Taylor finds himself in that position and happily for us has offered himself for re-election. So I'm hoping I'm going to get a proposer and a seconder from the floor for Malcolm's re-election to the Board of Trustees. So would someone like to propose Malcolm? John, I think John is offering to propose. And a seconder? Jackie?
Yep.
Well, Malcolm, I hope you're happy with that. We're certainly happy to have you back and look forward to another good year in your company on the Board of Trustees. Okay, so handing back to Jackie.
Well, just think, those of you who are not currently trustees, you could be voted in that way this time next year if you'd just like to get in touch. And I know there's some details on the chat and a link there on the chat that Emily's posted for you to follow up your little inkling now that you'd like to get involved. I won't go on about it anymore. You've got the message. So thank you. That's the formal business of the AGM is concluded, but we are open to any questions or comments that anyone would like to make before I close the meeting. Would anyone like to say anything now? I don't see any hands up or hear any little voices piping up. So really then it just remains for me to say many, many thanks. First of all to Shadia for organising all of this for us and getting all the papers out to everybody so that we were informed as we started the meeting today. Again, to our speaker, who's really given us a lot of stimulating food for thought. To Tom and Emily for organising the annual report, and for Malcolm for the accounts, and for all of you for coming and participating. I hope, as you see, lots of social media and other information about CFO, this will have put it into a more detailed context for you now. And please do keep in touch. And thank you for your ongoing support and membership of us as an organisation.